Welcome and thank you everyone for joining us for another Twitter Space. Today is July 28th, 2022, and this is episode 16 of the ledgerscale Internet Value Open Forum. A ledgerscale Foundation was founded with two goals in mind. One, we want to provide educational services to our community and scale up the number of brains that understand how distributed ledger technology works. And two, we intend to one day run hardware to provide infrastructural support to the distributed ledger technology networks that we believe are ESG friendly and running a form of decentralized consensus. Now, we host these spaces Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday starting at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. And on Wednesdays, we host a focus topic from 5 to 6 Eastern Standard Time. If I could just ask if everybody could give at ledgerscale a follow on Twitter and then turn those notifications on so you know when we're going live, and as well as retweet the space so that not only you but maybe somebody else in the future can find this information valuable.
Yeah, and we're just here to engage the community. So if you have any questions, please speak up. I'm sure if you do have a question or curious about something, other people will be as well. And if you do speak up, though, just please be cordial. And it's an open forum, so welcome to the space. I really haven't been online all day, so I don't know what if anything's happened. I guess Janet Yellen was speaking earlier, but I don't know what she said or haven't seen anything about it.
Hey, Karma. Hey, Death.
Hey, Tony.
So one of the things she said was that consumer spending is up, and then she said the economy is strong and that we've made tremendous gains over the past 18 months. But if you look at obviously it's a lie, but if you look at the data though, consumer spending is up because they're draining from their savings account and also the credit cards. So people are maxing out their credit cards. They're not paying it, according to some of these credit card companies that have reported as well.
First step is spending. Second step is defaulting.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have people, Ford a couple weeks ago released a statement saying that people are, what's it called? When you don't pay something, it's late.
You default.
No, not
you
default.
default on
What's the other term?
Delinquency.
Yeah, there we go. Delinquency. So a lot of these car payments are going into delinquency. So that's a statement according to Ford. And then the other one was AT&T just a few days ago, where they said that people are not paying their cell phone bills. They're paying them very late. So we have a combination of several things indicating that people are not paying, they don't have the money. So yeah, consumer spending is up, but it's all on debt. And that bubble could burst sooner or later.
I just talked to a guy the other day. He wants me to help him work on some mortgage stuff, and he was saying he knows a bunch of these big bankers, and he was saying that the credit card, the balance, like let's say you have $1,000 available balance, generally people will, on average, somewhere around 20% of that they'll actually carry the debt. Well, it's up to like 80%. So, at some point, you're going to hit 100%, and then you're going to hit delinquency. And with the mortgages and stuff, basically what he wants to do is he's getting ready. He's trying to prepare and set up shop. Basically, he's coming out of retirement to basically get ready to just help all these people that are going to end up in foreclosure. He's like, people can already see it coming. So he's trying to set up shop to help with that situation.
So when someone doesn't pay, can that be, and then a business suffers from it? Is that credit card fraud?
No, credit card's an unsecured debt.
Because I was reading, I didn't read I just saw the headline, but it was an article from Forbes. I could look for it again. It said something about 33% of small businesses have been impacted by credit card fraud. That's a huge number.
Yeah, but I mean, that, you don't know what kind of fraud that could be. I mean, there's a gazillion. It could be their card number got stolen, right? I mean, when I opened up my insurance office, um, within the first couple of weeks, apparently I bought someone a big screen TV in Texas. Like, that's credit card fraud. I mean, I got the money back, but I had to go through a rigmarole with the credit card company. And yeah, I mean, you don't know what kind of fraud that is. It doesn't mean it's the consumer doing the fraud. It could be the credit card or the company card getting, say you got an employee that gets access to the card number and then goes on a buying spree. Right? You don't know what that is. It's a big problem though, because the thing is, the cost of all that fraud, essentially, even though like you and I aren't doing credit card fraud, we pay the price. I mean, I don't even have a credit card personally, but
I found the article. It had to do with payment processing. So it says credit card processing happens when a consumer swipes, taps, or dips a credit card or debit card, or uses a digital payment method, such as Apple Pay with their phone. Data transfers from the card reader to the card network that communicates between the acquiring bank and the issuing bank. The end of the process results in either approved or declined transactions. So what it's saying here is that there was a lot of declined transactions, so payments would bounce.
Yeah, it's coming. Quarter four.
yeah, I don't know how they figure that out. I don't know that I don't know that part of things at all. Actually, probably be something worth looking into though. I mean, I know they've got a. I don't know how
Well,
they do it.
check this out. So it says here that the average payment for a credit card is $112, while cash transactions are averaging $22. That's a huge difference. That's a huge indicator as well as to what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyway, it's you can see this stuff coming if you know what you're looking for. I mean, I saw the '08 thing coming. I did not in any way, shape, or form see how bad it was going to be. Like the systemic level risks, I didn't see that at all. But I told friends and stuff, I was like, hey, they're like, oh, I'm going to buy a house. I'm like, it's just wait a minute, you know, just give it a year or so and there'll be foreclosures and stuff. And then you can get a good deal. And one of my friends didn't listen. Guess who went through foreclosure? I mean, it's not funny, but it's like, dude, I don't know.
And
It's like the guy.
all of this stuff has a lag come with it, uh, like to find the issue, like for the credit card and stuff like that. I think it takes like maybe 60 to 9 days for people to be like delinquent, like they don't pay at all. So
90. It goes
yeah,
30, 60, 90. By the
yes,
time it's 90, they're going to start filing foreclosure stuff.
exactly, and that's where the big issue really is. Like, okay, now we have issues, and so like this data is really important because it's basically it predicts what's going on. And if there is more inflation, that means yeah, people won't be able to pay this debt. You know, like if inflation keep going higher, good luck.
Well, this is part of the problem. This is what this guy is trying to set up the mortgage business to do. Because, see, last time, well, they even went up to, there's, so the problem is because the inflation and they're raising the interest rates, which is reasonable. But then, like, if you can't afford your mortgage at 4%, what do you think you're going to afford it at 5% or 6%? Right? And so So then you have to the next thing that you do, like do the modification, is you extend the term. So they actually went last go around. They went from they extended like 30-year mortgages to 40 years. You know, or say you only had 10 years left on your mortgage, maybe see, last time interest rates were low. So you could do like a refi, and now you've got 30 years on your mortgage again instead of 10, right? But it's at a lower interest rate. And so your payments are lower, so you can manage your like monthly cash flow better. And the goal, basically what this guy wants to do is like, the goal is to help keep people in their houses. And there was some other things. I don't know if you know what negative amortization is, but I don't like it.
No,
But
that sounds like a horrible idea.
yeah, but you know, it's either that or these people end up on the street.
Yeah, that's
so.
So what would happen? What would happen? I mean, how is this debt going to be paid off? Because
Well,
it just keeps increasing, and I mean, what the economy doing better is not. I wouldn't say it's going to help that tremendously. Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, if somehow things get better, I don't think that's going to help address that issue. I think this is just a ticking time bomb. So what happens at the end? I mean, are we just going to see a bunch of people declare bankruptcy to get rid of all this debt?
Yeah, look, this is actually scaring me more than the COVID times. Like, because at the COVID times, okay, the government's going to interfere, they're going to print money, it's going to be okay. This one, there is nothing the government can do. Like, all they can do is to increase the interest rate, and it's not guaranteed to work because increasing the interest rate could lead to other issues, you know? So you can try to fix it, but who knows if it's going to get fixed or no. Yeah.
Well, there's going to be foreclosures. So if you're looking to buy a house, wait a little bit. Like,
and a house is actually more lag than credit card. I think the lag in the house is like almost 6 months in prices and stuff like that. You know.
it's already hitting the real estate market down here.
No, but because that's what you see now is from 4 or 5 months ago. Does that make sense? Like the interest rate that charged yesterday or months ago, it still has like 3 or 4 months to actually feel the impact of it. So what we feel now is from 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the real estate market is slow, which is kind of a good thing. But yes, it is definitely slow. I mean, just look at how long it takes to do a freaking transaction. You know, you're looking at what? I mean, let's say it was an all cash transaction.
It's the least liquid asset you can ever have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is why I did a whole bunch of work. Basically, this is pre blockchain existing. And all my work was about how can we help like chip away at that, reduce that liquidity risk. And then this is one of the reasons when I stumbled into the XRP ledger, I was like, oh, like this could actually work for some of the stuff that I was working on at the time. And I gave up on it because I wasn't able to find anything. And then some other guy ripped me off and anyway, raised the money and tried to do the thing and didn't do that well, but he did okay. But yeah, it was like, oh my goodness, this software, like this could enable what I was trying to work on. And then that's how I got interested in this stuff. It's a liquidity risk is a big deal. And actually, I think all blockchains, by and large, are tools that can be used to address liquidity risks and help tamper down or reduce those risks, which would in turn increase the value of the underlying. So, like, if you reduce the liquidity risk of, say, the real estate industry, you could probably add $1 trillion of value to the market. Like, that's a big deal. And that's just a small adjustment in risk reduction.
I'm not buying the whatever the market movement this couple days. I really, like crypto or even the stock market. I'm just not buying it. Like I don't think people has money to buy anything. Like, yeah, there's people who has money that can buy crypto and stocks, but basically the retail people like the middle.
Well, the thing is, Egyptian, is all the monetary policy expansion stuff that's gone on. Most of that finds its way into the financial markets. So it drives up your financial assets. Okay, but financial assets are not like real assets. Okay, like I can't eat a share of GE stock. Okay, I can eat a banana. That's a real asset. But these financial assets, what am I going to do with a bond? Right? Like ultimately what I'm going to do with a bond is trade it out for something real. Like a rent or something, or gasoline or food, or I don't know, go out on a date or something, right? Like you're going to go do something real. Financial assets are just, but anyway, yeah, when they print all this money, the vast majority of it finds its way into and the goofy thing there is it's the rich get richer kind of thing, because generally the people that have the financial assets are your more wealthy folks. And so when you pump up the financial markets, then it just boosts, that makes the rich get richer. Yeah, it's just what happens. So I think at least as a saving grace to some degree, if the markets, go down, crash, boom, bear market, whatever the hell you want to call, crash, bang, boom, at least the people that can absorb that blow are likely the ones that have the most exposure to it. That doesn't mean there's not other people that can't absorb that blow, that the blow is going to really matter, because that'll happen. That always does. But, it's different than taking a guy who's like paycheck to paycheck and taking his job away. Okay, this is a serious problem, right? Like,
And
that's going to be a problem.
but that's what he said yesterday. He said that they need to softening the employment market. Like it's funny the way they use the word. You know what I mean? Softening the employment market means that people lose their jobs.
Yeah.
And that's their solution for the.
That's what'll end up happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hate when they use words like this because let's pick up our words carefully. Because when you hear softening, you don't actually like what you don't relate it to a bad thing. Oh, softening, that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Soften the employment market. What?
Imagine they come out and they're like, "Hey, listen, absolutely nothing we can do can stop what's about to happen. Hope you guys enjoy the ride." I think everybody would freak out. So they gotta.
Yeah.
These days, people would lose their job in order to fix inflation. That would be like, no, but they will pick up their, it's not recession, it's blah, blah, blah. It's not losing their job, it's softening the employment market. Like what, softening what? Am I gonna wipe my butt with the, with the employment? Like softening, yes.
And
Okay.
thank you for that image, Egyptian.
No, it's like, it makes you, like, the way they play with the words, it just makes you go crazy. Softening. And some idiots don't understand.
Egyptian, it's like, have you ever basically very politely told someone to screw off, but then they're like, oh yeah, thanks, right? And then probably after you left, they thought about what you said and they're like, wait a second, he just told me to screw off. Like, I mean, you can say bad things in nice ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, yeah, like,
And
yeah.
nobody, the media question him like, what do you mean by softening like, do you mean it's people would lose their jobs? No, nobody even question him, you know?
Well, yeah. There's a difference between saber rattling, if you will, where you're saying mean, scary things, but you're really not going to pull your sword out, versus the guy that's like, oh, it's really great to see you, and then he pulls his sword out and you're dead. Like, there's, it's almost better if they're saber rattling, because if they just showed up and, I mean, go back to when was it wasn't it Nixon? Who was it that took us off the gold standard? It was 70, early 70, like 71, I think.
Next one.
Yeah.
And if you look at the speech he gave, he made it sounds like the most nicest thing in the world, right? Like, oh, we've got these people that are trying to harm the economy, so we're just going to take the dollar off the gold standard, and that'll take care of the people that are trying to attack the economy, and then everything's going to be great, right? I mean, that's basically the speech in a nutshell. But then that completely changed the entire monetary system, because I mean, it was gold backed before that, which I don't think is the best idea personally, but whatever. I mean, still massive change. But yeah, if you listen to the speech, it sounds like we're just going to do this little thing. It's not a big deal. It's going to take care of a problem, and then everything's going to be great.
Okay, the crypto market made me realize something. Okay, and people, okay, we are living in a big, big Ponzi scheme. Like, not the crypto. I'm not talking about crypto. I'm talking about everything. Like, all the economy is built in a freaking Ponzi scheme, which is a debt. It's a debt market. You know, it's a
Well, just look at today, man. I
yeah.
mean, by definition, we are now in a recession. The numbers say we're in a recession, but yet everything's green.
Yeah, even the GDP came horrible, and yeah, no, it's okay. You know, it's fine. It's whatever. It's all bullshit. At one point, the music is gonna stop. You know, and when it's gonna stop, it's gonna be ugly.
I mean, it's never fun. Let's just put it that way. But I don't really think this is going to be. The problem is, we were able in the last go arounds. I mean, even going back to what, the 90s, even the 80s. In those go arounds, the Fed had like monetary policy tools available, but with the interest rates as low as they are, effectively the Fed's back is up against the wall. So the only other thing they can do to try and uh, inject liquidity into the system is like buy assets. Well, then they got to print more money to buy the assets. But if they print more money, then that's going to cause more inflation. If that causes more inflation, then they're going to have to raise rates. So now they're like chasing their own tail. Like, what do you like? And when they buy the financial assets, all that does, like I just said a second ago, is it boosts the price of the financial markets. Well, that's not the real economy. I mean, the financial markets are supposed to be a reflection of the real economy, but they're not. They're a reflection of the real economy, plus they're a reflection of like monetary policy, plus they're a reflection of you can have international demand because our markets are strong and regulated. Not crypto, but you know, we have good rule of law. So when you buy one of these financial assets, it's just a piece of paper, and frankly, you never get the paper. You don't even get the piece of paper. So you got to trust in that paper. And, you know, this is one of the reasons regulation is actually so critically important. I mean, it's just critical. This is what Russia screwed up. If you read Bernanke's book, no, not Bernanke. Who's the other guy? Greenspan. There's a chapter in there, and he talks about, you know, he's sort of thinking through, well, when the Soviet Union fell apart, like, why didn't Russia bounce back really great? Like, they've got tons of resources, plenty of smart scientists and people that are capable. They're, you know, located right in between Asia and Europe, and it's, I mean, vast resources. I mean, you would just think you've got all the ingredients for a super successful outcome. But the problem is when they tried to switch over to like more of a capitalist model, from a sort of centrally planned model. I mean, think of capitalist as basically decentralized versus, you know, communist would be like centralized. Then the problem was they had no rule of law. They didn't have the regulations. Because the centralized system, you didn't need regulations because, you know, the Mother Russia guy, whatever his name was, Gorbachev or something like that, or whoever it was, like the government basically runs everything. So you didn't need. I mean, I'm sure they have basic laws like don't kill people, but you don't need. So they had no laws, and so basically, like the KGB in its strongman rule at that point. So if I can come up to you and just take your stuff, it's. Oh, excuse me. Like I'm not gonna. Oh, I swallowed the wrong thing. I'm not gonna do business with you if I don't have any way to know
KGB
that
still
you're
in
going to uphold your end of the bargain, right? And so then, since I'm not going to do business with you, I don't benefit because that economic activity doesn't occur. You don't benefit because that economic activity doesn't occur, and it's hard to get an economy going without rules and laws and regulation and knowing that if you and I sign a contract to do business together, like I can enforce you to hold up your end of the bargain, and you know that you can enforce me to hold up my end of the bargain. You got without that, in Russia just never really got back on its feet. Oh, sorry. Let me get a cup of water.
I thought the KGB came and tried to kill you or something because you were talking shit about them. I was like, oh.
That's basically what happened over there. Like, if you didn't, the only way to enforce the deal was, you know, basically, I mean, violence.
Okay, guys, it's almost 1 o'clock. Intel and Apple are gonna declare.
So man, I don't know. All these companies, not all of them, but a lot of them have reported really bad numbers or just missed targets.
Yeah.
And then we've had bad numbers from the government, and the market just keeps pumping. So I'm almost to a point where I don't care what Apple says.
People say
Well,
whenever like now Apple, and what's the others?
Intel.
Intel, yeah, but probably Apple, obviously more eyes on that. But if Apple reports bad, they say, um,
It's gonna take them.
yeah, the people say like it could not immediately, like in the next few weeks, because
Yeah.
revenue expectations have not been priced in so far, because the market still thinks like revenue will continue as it is, which they say it should not.
Best Buy had a bad result, and another company and another chip maker had a bad result. So people expecting Apple would have a bad result, because if Best Buy, the sales for Best Buy is not good, it's most likely the sales for Apple is not good either.
Yeah, but look at UPS. UPS didn't. I mean, the profits were up, but delivery numbers were way down. Yet it's still pumped. I mean, right now the market's just not making any sense, man.
Yeah.
Microsoft, same thing, and it went up. So all of a sudden, if you miss target, you're gonna go green. It's not making any sense.
It's because the YOLO culture. You know what I mean? It's not just in crypto now; it's in everywhere. It's like, oh, we don't care. We just want to throw our money. Doesn't really matter.
Well, another thing that happens, watch when things get bad, is so companies will be like, this is going to sound nefarious, but it's really not. They kind of can like hide stuff on the balance sheet through like accounting and stuff. And but then when the things get bad, that's often when they'll like unload all this stuff, right? If it rains, it pours. Like what's the difference? You're wet either way.
Amazon
right?
beat. I
Huh?
tuned it up.
Amazon Meet. Oh yeah, Amazon is
Beat. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Amazon is today. I forgot.
Yeah. They beat expectations, which is good, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Double
But
income.
how does that
What
even
the
make any sense, man? Like, what? How? They're they're cutting down on their workforce.
It,
They're
when it,
they're, they're canceling contracts with warehouses or plans to build warehouses.
it could be because they have the what
AWS.
the cloud. Yes. Yep. I was
Yeah.
about the cloud business. It's really good. So it might be, and I think they are the leader of the cloud business. Like they are better than Microsoft and Google. I think so. Am I right? They are number one.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
snuck in there on that. And Windows, or not Windows, Microsoft has Azure. Like that's what we run our service on.
Yeah, but I think Amazon is the biggest one out of all of them.
Yeah, it's the biggest and it's the moneymaker for Amazon for sure.
Yeah.
Like I think the retail stuff, the e-commerce is just basically zero sum. Like if they go out neutral, like plus minus zero, then they're pretty good. Just not making any money. But the AWS margins are really high, like 45% or so. That's insane.
Wow. That's a really high margin.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, they are fucking expensive, dude. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, also keep in mind that Amazon does, I believe, over 60% of their volume
So Intel,
from the third-party sellers, and they raised third-party sellers 5% on all transactions.
it looks like Intel has a bad results because it's down now 4%, almost 5%.
It's just the algos. Don't get shaken out, Egyptian.
What?
Don't do it.
What?
The algos are playing with you. The algorithms.
No, it's okay. And Apple is going up, but it's not going up massively. But I don't think they declared yet. I have feeling.
I mean,
Yeah,
the thing is like someone always knows, and their
yeah.
algos are parsing the results earlier. So
No, but Amazon. You know what I mean? Could be because Amazon and they didn't like Apple didn't declare yet, and it could be because Amazon went up and Apple actually.
Well, Apple should be coming out any second now. They said they
Yeah.
would report right after the bell.
Yeah, even people on Twitter say Amazon bought, so I guess Apple will also. TikTok.
yeah, I mean, Apple has like it's more also a lot of the devices, which Amazon isn't doing really.
And Intel is actually going almost 6% now. I'm gonna buy Intel. I'm gonna buy more Intel. I don't
Yeah,
think.
do it, Egyptian. Do it. If you
Not
do it,
now.
I buy a new iPhone this year.
No, not now. Tomorrow when the market open, I will buy more Intel. Yeah.
You buy it open? No, dude. Don't.
What?
The first 30 minutes, don't buy anything.
No, I mean because I cannot buy now after market.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna wait till tomorrow till I buy. I
Well,
like.
the thing with Amazon is at this point it's an infrastructure company. So it's one of those things like even if like the market and the economy goes down, what you're not going to go tear up the roads because the economy went down. Like this is infrastructure. So maybe less cars drive down the road, and maybe they pay more to drive down the road, but you're not going to tear the road up. It's crazy. So I think companies like that, and I kind of really like the uh, Ripple Amazon comparison because what they're building here with the Internet of Value and RippleNet and all this stuff, XRP Ledger, it's infrastructure. And I mean, once it takes hold, it's there and it ain't going anywhere. So it's a slow, it's like I used to tell my ex, it's not a get rich quick scheme, it's a get rich slow. Right? Like when you're doing an infrastructure play, you're in this for basically ever.
Amazon is 10% up, man. After
Amazon
just because.
is mooning. It's going.
Yeah. I mean, hey, the reports are AWS net sales, excluding FX, plus 33%, dude. Like, where do you get this growth? Elsewhere, only in tech.
Yeah.
Well, and the margins. I mean, when I graduated college, I was like looking around, asking myself, well, what do I want to do? Because I wanted to do real estate stuff, but that entirely fell apart. And I'm looking around and like the biggest, fattest margins are the software companies. I mean, across the board, like there's no other industry that makes the kind of margins software does. And I tried to tell this to the guys that when I was in the insurance business, and I tried to help these guys, and they obviously didn't listen. And I was like, dude, you got to realize every time you guys buy one of these software products, they're making a bigger margin and they're eating up your tiny margin. And do you know the idea of rent seeking? Like from an economic thing? It's like, I'm going to probably screw this up. It's like when it's like the insurance company, like they think they're getting a deal, right? Because they're not having to put out a capital outlay, like a capital expense. And so they can just, let's take Amazon Web Services, for example. Rather than me having to actually like shell out, thousands of dollars for a server and the people to run it and set it up and configure it and all this, I can just go to AWS and like pay basically rent. Right. But at the end of the day, when you run that out across time, I'm going to pay more for using AWS than I would have if I had just bit the bullet and bought the equipment up front and, run it myself.
100%. I mean, I have I have a dedicated server for for the validator. It is way cheaper. It is I think it is as cheap as the cheapest virtual machine AWS is selling, and they charge for traffic. It's insane how much they charge. It's almost criminal. But the big advantage is you can scale, which I cannot. I'm limited to my hardware. I cannot exceed it, and you can scale it better in AWS. You just have a toggle basically. You can just increase if you have an increase of traffic, tenfold, whatever. You just slide the toggle to the right or whatever, the bar, and you're good to go. And
Well,
that's the easiest thing.
that part is definitely true, and that's a big advantage. Like for the other thing, like if we have, say, a couple of big events all at the same time, we don't even have to toggle anything. It'll with Azure, it'll just automatically scale up.
Yeah, you have
I
the
mean,
load
we could charge
balancers.
more,
Yeah,
but that's fine. We're still profitable, but it just automatically will scale up to meet the load.
yeah. I have just recently, I just for fun made some Discord bots myself, and I just was thinking, okay, where should I host it? And I was thinking, maybe let's look at AWS for what's the cheapest option there, like for just a VPS, and it's insane. Like I think $30 or something. I mean, this is as much as I pay for my dedicated server. So I looked somewhere else, and I found it like the same place where I have also my dedicated server. They have also a cloud business, very fresh, and I pay like 1/4 or of what I would pay at AWS. Way better. Like for a amateur perspective. For business, I mean, obviously it's a different scenario, but yeah.
Well, the scalability thing can be a big deal because, especially with like an internet business, because you never know. I mean, like let's say some big news channel did a highlight of our service. We would blow up overnight. I mean, and if we had to manage that by purchasing servers, well, basically, there's just going to be a whole lot of disappointed customers because we got to wait for the servers to even show up and get mailed to us, right? And then we got to set them up, and then we got to get. And by this point, everybody's pissed off, and the word on the street is your service doesn't work. And I mean, it can just happen so quick that you can't, as a physical, practical matter, scale that quickly without some of these cloud services.
Yeah, I just hope that they get more competition in that sense, which they will, and the prices come down eventually. So it gets like more deflationary in that sense. But right now it is like it's insane. Like it's a monopoly basically with Microsoft, and as you said, there's not many options out there that you can really choose if you're a big company. But then obviously, if you have a good idea or a good business and it helps you to make more money, then it's like kind of no brainer, right? You just do it because you make more business, more money.
Well, the other way to do it is for you to run. Let's say you're the business. You run your own. Let's say you have a base load of traffic. You run that through hardware that you bought and that you own and run, right? But then you also have a cloud service. So if all of a sudden you get a major PR thing and everybody's coming and hitting you, you still got the hardware and the stuff that you run, but then you can scale using the cloud. And then when that traffic goes away because like next news cycle and everybody's talking about some other thing, then you just scale back your cloud consumption.
Yeah, this is why I like, because I think also for them it's like you pay by the minute, like as you use, if you just use it for whatever 2 hours where your campaign is, or let's 6 hours one day, whatever, they only gonna bill you that many minutes or hours, so it's not like you, with a usual server you rent like monthly or so, and you're gonna stuck with it if you just need it for one day or 2 days.
That's how I'm not even really sure what it is because it's over my head, but that's how the for ledgerscale we have an AWS account for the production environment, which I'm not even really sure what that is. But yeah, it's like a pay by the minute. So you really want to be organized before you go start using it, because otherwise you're just wasting money.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also almost like a web monetization type thing, right? Like you only pay for however many minutes of the movie you watched. Like if I have to buy a whole movie, and I promise you I'm not going to probably make it through the whole movie, I got to pay for the whole movie, even though I only consumed, I don't know, 15 minutes of it, and then I got bored. Right? Like if I could just pay for the 15 minutes, like never going to watch the rest of the movie. I'm already bored. I think that's like a kind of little bit of a web monetization. Like, why should I pay for a whole month service if I'm only going to use it for 15 minutes?
Yeah, that's a totally outdated model. Like whoever is still doing that kind of stuff. I mean, for me, it's always angry. You know, I'm always pissed when I see like, oh, whatever. You know, like they say minimum contract duration, whatever, 12 months or so. Like, oh, fuck you. Like, you know.
Well, that's the okay. I can raise my hand and say that's the fault of the finance guys.
Yeah.
Because do you know what a discounted cash flow is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you do?
Yes.
Okay, so when you can get those contracts, what it does is it lets you. So if I have, say, a business with, I don't know, $1,000 of monthly income, okay, but there's no contract, then that business is going to be worth a little bit less compared to a business that has $1,000 of cash flow, but they got this on a 12-month contract. So really it's $12,000, right? Now that business I can take to market, like to the public markets or to an investor in that world. And I can sell this thing for a lot more than I can sell the business. Same business, right? Same monthly cash flow. But if you get it locked in for a longer period of time, then you get and then there's a halfway model where you just go month to month, but you get subscribers, and then you have to look at your attrition rate. Then your, what is it, MRR, monthly recurring revenue, or something like that. If you look at like SaaS metrics,
This is why, like every business or a lot of people, you know, always want, if they run a business, always want like, you know, the subscription model, because it gives them like predictability also for revenue. You know, like how much is coming next month.
yeah,
Next
and
2 months.
that's important because you've got suppliers, you've got people. You know, these people need to know that their paycheck's going to clear, right? Like, I certainly want to know that if I'm counting on a check next week, that the check's going to clear. But if you have a whole bunch of people cancel their service because they were only month to month, then, you know, maybe the check doesn't clear. That's not cool. The predictability, that's effectively a risk reducer, which does increase value. Reduce risk, increase value.
Karma, I was telling you like how much AWS is doing like margin, you know,
Yeah.
for Amazon. I just pinned it up. There's a graph if you want to see. Like it's insane. Like it's based. Amazon is basically AWS. Everything else is just, you know, they're carrying with them. It's marketing, whatever.
Is this the Zero Hedge article?
Yes, you can see it's a picture, so you don't have to dig into an article. You can see it from the image, the graph. Yeah.
Yeah.
Egyptian dropped out. Did he get liquidated or what?
He's probably gonna go check the Apple news.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on it.
Me too. Yeah.
Intel missed by a lot though. I'm looking at the Intel numbers right now, but I'm still waiting on Apple.
Okay.
By the way, if anybody in the audience wants to come up, if you have any questions, if you're wondering about any of the topics that have been talked about, please feel free to hit the request and come up and ask questions.
By the way, you know what? Let me see if I can find. Yeah, I pinned it more here at the top. I pinned it at the top today. I was like, looking into some because I was pulling some data from CoinGecko. I just was, I wanted to pull from there, and I wanted like XRP price, right? And was looking into the documentation, whatever. How can what's the ID for XRP? And it was like just Ripple, and pissed me off. Like I was like, hey, come on, like at places where it's not obvious, because if you go to, I mean, everywhere it says like XRP, like how it should be, but it seems like internally they don't care.
Yeah, I mean they're still getting their data most likely from CoinMarketCap in the end of the day, which we all know.
Yeah, that's likely.
Yeah.
Man, there's so much shady stuff that goes into those data feeds.
Yeah.
I mostly just look at on ledger data.
If you look at the XRP page that they have, like where you see the price and everything, just like with Bitcoin or whatever, where they give you information about the coin, like what's the market cap, what's the everything else, and sometimes they tell you like, oh, so what's the web page? And for XRP it's like Ripple. It's like what?
What was that?
They display you. So for some coins, they are like issued by companies, and then you see like the web page of the company, right? They tell you, folks, oh, this is the Karma coin, and this is karma.com, whatever, karmacoverage.com web page. And for XRP, it's like it says the web page is ripple.com. Like basically saying Ripple is the owner of XRP, they show
it should probably go to like oh geez, it just escaped me. Is it xrp.org or XRP, where you can go
xrpl.org?
Yeah, like that's where there's information. I mean, Ripple's doing one thing, XRP Ledger is a different thing. I mean, it just is. Yes, RippleNet doesn't have to, but it can use XRP Ledger. It makes sense to use it financially, but and for other reasons. Pretty sure I came up with the jurisdictional arbitrage point. That's a big one though. But no, I mean Ripple doesn't have to use XRP Ledger at all.
Yep.
Hey, Ved, Apple said 10 minutes. Well, 7 minutes now.
Yeah, they need to polish the report. And Egyptian is back.
They said right after market, but now they released something saying 3 minutes ago, 10 minutes, so now 7 minutes.
Oh, good, okay. Thanks.
But it's up 1% in after hours.
Okay.
One thing I really like about all the crypto, as compared to say the traditional markets, is like, dude, it's just 24/7, 365. Never goes. It's not like banker's hours. Like, oh, sorry, we're closed. I mean, like, could you imagine if you just were like, oh yeah, I'm glad you want to do an XRP transaction. We'll be open in the morning.
Guys, Ruko, you know Ruko or no?
Yeah, it got
Cassie
screwed.
Wood, Cassie Wood fund is down 26% right now. 26%.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is an idiot.
And
An idiot. And yesterday,
and she sold.
you know Teladoc?
What did she sold something before? What
Coinbase.
was it? Coinbase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coinbase. No, it's funny. She sold it next day. It went up 12%.
Yeah, exactly.
And yesterday, Teladoc went down like also 20%. So yeah, her fund is getting.
But she sold something else last week though. What was it?
Was it Tesla? No, she's
No,
consolidating into Tesla, I
Like
think.
I forgot what it
the
was.
way she picks up the fund, it's kind of like it's seriously crazy. Like the companies that she invests in is like shitty company. Like their balance sheet is horrible, cash flow is horrible, you know. And she thinks that there is a company, I cannot remember which one. She thinks this company is gonna grow up 40% every year for 10 years, you know, and they never made money before. And she thinks that this company is gonna go up 40% every year, you know.
Yeah, you have to understand where she's coming from. She's like, inflation is absolutely transitory. We will have like huge deflation, you
No,
know. In that sense, yeah.
she's coming from stupidity, you know what I mean? Not from any, like she doesn't know any freaking thing.
Oh, check this
See,
out.
Tony.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Check this out. So Schumer just said from the Senate that they will raise taxes on big corporations. That just came out.
What?
Yeah, I pinned it at the top. Yeah,
The
nice.
Senate, the Senate will levy more taxes on large corporations.
Oh, really? Okay. That actually,
Exit.
that might bring the market down, actually.
Might.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would expect it
Yeah.
to because it's going to reduce the cash flow because you just increase the expense. It might be a systemically good, I guess, but individually, like individual corporation, individually, yeah, it's an increased expense. If I tell you, like, oh, my cost of oranges is going to go up for my orange juice company, you know, obviously the value of the company is going to go down because the money. Goes kind of right back to the rent seeking thing with the software. And I was trying to tell the insurance people, you guys don't want to be renting all this software. You want to be just build it and own it. And I was actually trying to like give it to them. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but yeah, I mean, if the expenses go up, doesn't matter if the expense is called oranges or taxes or insurance or whatever, payroll.
I got a question in general, but it's it's about XRP, but it's off topic. Is that okay?
Of course, buddy. Go ahead.
Good evening, by the way. I'm not that knowledgeable on XRP, so maybe for some of you this has been covered in the past. But is there anywhere in the ecosystem of Ripple a connection with the U.S. Military or Defense Department?
There was something like if there's any connections, there was something about the Navy a couple years ago that the Navy was involved in a project.
Right. So if I Google like Ripple or U.S. Navy, I would be able to find it, I guess.
Who's asking the question?
That was
Steak.
Steak.
Hi, Kramer.
How's it going?
Yeah, pretty all right actually. I gonna buy a house tomorrow, fix the mortgage, fix the co-parenting, fix the alimony, and probably got a new job as well all in one day. If
Dude,
everything
what
goes
the heck is going on with you? Like everything in your life is changing. You know,
Well, that's great.
It's a big day.
holy crap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my life is more variable and has more dips than my portfolio at the moment.
Yeah, you have a lot going on, and I felt tired just hearing your sentence, like, oh, mortgage, divorce, what's going on? Like,
Yeah. I've been pretty tired,
I know.
but these kind of things give me energy though. Plus, it's a good way to practice my English. So
Your
Yeah,
English is
it's a
better
lot.
than mine, so you're doing good.
There's
Thanks,
a
man.
there's a guy, he's not in here right now, that's come into these chats, and I've talked to him privately, and he's there working on some stuff for the DoD. So I don't know. There's a bunch of people from the Treasury that, I mean, everybody knows that one lady from the Treasury that has gone over to Ripple.
Rosie Rios.
Yeah, and early on, I think he's gone now. Shoot, what was his name?
Michael Barr, 2015 advisor of Ripple, who's now part of the Federal Reserve, is the VP.
No, there was another guy. Although there's that guy too. There's another guy early on. It was one of the first times when I was like, "What's going on? Like, how are these heavy hitter people joining this startup?"
The guy from BNY Mellon.
No, he was like I think he was either an advisor. I think he was like an economic advisor to Clinton. Like he's an older
Apple Beat. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, but he was one like right in the very
Applebeat?
Who?
Applebeat, yeah.
Applebeat.
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 Shit, I'm gonna lose my contract.
What?
I pinned it.
I have a long call, like I was selling a long call option on my Apple. So, and it was 140. So now I'm gonna.
I knew you were getting liquidated.
Yeah.
The difference is
No,
not
it's
even
not
by a lot,
liquidated.
though.
I'm just gonna sell it at 140. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna lose.
Yeah, but the difference is not even a lot. I wouldn't really say that Pete estimates, but it's gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as yeah. People would like to see more. Probably.
More.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine. It's not big deal. Yeah.
Just 100x.
No. I'm gonna lose maybe like $1,000 because when I have the options that I sold, it's equal like what $1,000. So basically, I'm gonna lose like $1,000 the whole thing. So it's not that big deal, you know.
Not that big of a deal.
No, it's the option, you know. It's yeah.
That's how much he spends on Diet Coke every week.
That's a rent.
Exactly. No, actually, I'm gonna be losing like what $400. It's not that bad. It's okay.
Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah. Okay. I will. It will work out.
There's a video right now from Bloomberg. Hester Pierce discussed the outlook for regulations of cryptocurrencies, saying the recent activity in the crypto market has made regulatory minds in Washington more focused. Nothing new.
Reggie Miller has a very cool video on YouTube today regarding the business analysis of Coinbase with his own charts and all the information regarding their cash flow, liquidity, and how they're, according to him, in a very, very bad spot. Might be interesting with the court case of the SEC versus YE. And maybe also if the taxes is going to be increased. Anyways.
Sorry, Steak. I didn't catch most of that. I was watching a video.
Yeah, I'm watching American Psycho at the moment as well.
Apparently in the report it says like they're selling a lot of AirPods. And I'm asking myself, like, who doesn't own by now AirPods if you would like to have AirPods?
I bought two this quarter because when I went to Egypt, I bought one for my niece. And then my other niece was like, oh, I want one too. So I sent her another one like a week ago. So
you contributed.
It was me.
Well, you also got to look at what they are doing in China right now.
Guys,
they're lowering the prices for their iPhones and a lot of their products in China because numbers are going down in China.
Guys, did you see what Cassie Wood is doing now? They have a live video of her. Do you want to see? Here. Look at the tweet up. I shared the tweet. Look what she's doing.
Who are you talking about?
Cassie Wood.
I'm not seeing your tweet. I just see Tony.
No, I shared the tweet with you guys now. Look up.
Yeah, just give it a minute.
Yeah. Okay. They got her live from her house. She's doing something. You know.
Who?
Cassie Wood.
Kathy Wood, or are you talking about Hester Pierce? Oh wait, now I see a different thing.
Yeah, it's Cassie Wood. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look
now
what.
I see. Now I see.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, Egyptian.
uh,
Made a
oh
lot
my
of
god.
huh?
People are killing her online.
I mean, she was also one of these very vocal people, like kind of like she reminds me of like a Michael Saylor, how she was like saying whatever she says is like for surely going to happen, and then right, the position she's in right now. Did you see what Nikeli Bukele said the other day from El Salvador? He said he said his sorry to his people for the mistake he's made, and he's going to
Yes.
back bonds.
Okay. Don't
But
let.
I could have
Here.
sworn it was gonna.
Hey,
I could have
this.
sworn that Bitcoin was gonna pay out.
Yeah. This is scam here. Because if he heard you, he's gonna get mad. Oh, it's here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Scams is here, yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, scam! Don't get mad at the Salvador president. It's okay. It's okay. It's a mistake. It's okay.
You're just teasing him.
I
love scam. He's the best ever. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know about that. But
Going
back to going back to El Salvador, their finance minister today said that their Bitcoin bet was working. So that's funny.
That's totally BS.
They have okay. So given Bitcoin is proof of work, they have an advantage there because they have all that free. Well, once you put out the capital expense to collect the energy, they have all this free geothermal energy. And,
The volcano, you mean?
yeah, that kind of stuff. They can, actually, I got a buddy of mine from, well, it didn't matter, but he put in one of these systems, and like it was pretty expensive to put in, but and it's a long payoff period, but he owns the property, and he's like, and I'm not selling the property, so he was like, it'll pay off in the long, like when I'm old, this thing is still just going to be working. It's very simple mechanically. There's not a lot to break. Basically you pump water. I think it's water down, and then it doesn't cost much to pump something down, right? Gravity can do that for you. And then it heats up, and then it comes out the other side, and I think it runs a turbine or something. It's got to do something to switch it over to, but anyway, so then that like helps fuel his house, like his power and stuff, like instead of solar or something. And it's 100% dependable every day, all day long. Like solar, hey, I live in the Sunshine State. I promise you it's not always sunny. So, yeah.
Wait, who was it that mentioned Bukele? Was it Fed or Bev?
Who?
Bukele. Who mentioned Bukele?
Oh, I think it was Death Ranger.
Yeah, because what's it called? Let's see right here. It says Bukele's buying back country's bond. Because apparently, yeah, okay. So it says here he's eyeing its own country's bond. He tweeted out on Tuesday that he sent 2 bills to El Salvador's Congress asking for authorization to take loans out and buy back sovereign debt bonds at market prices, which had dropped over 75% over the past year.
What does that have to do with Bitcoin? I don't understand.
Here we go.
I'm just asking. That's what somebody said.
To power it, I think, for the energy.
Scam is here. Yeah, he heard Bitcoin. He got. Okay. Hi, Scam. How are you doing?
I just heard you talking before saying, so how does him buying back the bonds have to do with Bitcoin? I'm confused.
Well, it was something about, it's because the Bitcoin investment for El Salvador is down over 50%.
But didn't they fund the capital expense through the bonds? I mean, that's typically the way a government funds a capital expense is selling bonds.
No, that's not how they funded it.
Scam is now defending Bitcoin. It's weird because he's always skeptical about
Surprise, surprise.
not Bitcoin.
My account's about facts, and you guys just said that
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
buying back
yeah,
the bonds
yes,
because of
yes.
Bitcoin, which just is not even factual.
I love you, Scams. I love you.
But am I misremembering? Didn't they sell a bunch of bonds to do the? Because I remember reading some financial analysis from I don't forget who, and they were like questioning the rationality of backing these bonds by the Bitcoin or something.
Yeah, so
I don't.
basically is what has happened is they put that on hold. They didn't do the Bitcoin bonds, and then since they did buy Bitcoin, like the IMF and other places have downgraded their credit rating, so their bonds have essentially crashed, like the value of them, making the interest rate really high. So since the value is low, they're taking the opportunity to take extra cash that they have to buy the debt back while it's really low. That's
So
and this is sovereign debt that they issued like years ago, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago.
So what do you think about
so this is
Dorian
this
Bray?
is
Hold on, Tony.
this is
What do
what the bill one of the bills says that he's trying to get passed. The bills would finance El Salvador's debt buyback through a $200 million loan from the Central American Bank of Economic Integration, and reserve assets from the IMF.
Well, that's probably your SDR. I mean, I don't know what these people do.
He's a dictator.
Sometimes you scratch your head.
It's just one giant mess that they've created.
Yeah, I don't know why Scams defending dictators. It's kind of weird. But anyway,
I'm not defending him in any way whatsoever. I'm just talking about you said something not factual, and I was just correcting it.
you sound angry today. I don't know why. I didn't do anything. Okay.
No,
Okay.
I'm not angry at you. I'm just trying to, put the correct information out there. This space is about learning, right?
Absolutely, yes. And we learned that Bitcoin is trash. Thank you.
This is how conversations.
Yeah, whatever.
I love scams. Okay.
So wait, I because I really didn't care, to be honest. But did they actually create a financial asset, I guess, in the form of some bond that was backed by or collateralized, or the cash flow somehow or another was backed by Bitcoin? I don't know how you get any cash flow out of Bitcoin, but
they spend a lot of money on infrastructure to actually integrate Bitcoin, but no one is using it in Salvador. So it's kind
It's
of
really bad. I know a bunch of people. My
yeah,
family knows a bunch of people in El
yeah,
Salvador, and they said it's just
yeah,
one giant disaster. Funds
yeah.
going missing,
The problem
wallets
is
getting hacked.
And instead of using the money to actually help poor people, he use it in an adventure that is useful.
wait, whoever that was, if you got family down there, what's the actual word on the street, if you will, like
It's
front
horrible.
lines?
And there's people that are making money off it because they're trading, I guess you could say. But I mean, the average consumer, the average, let's say, so most of the market over there for entrepreneurs is street vendors, and the street vendors are telling people that they don't want to accept it, but they can't. Sorry, that was my dog. They can't deny it. If someone wants to use it and pay for something, they can't tell them no. But they're telling people no, they don't want to because they don't have faith in it, and a lot of these street sellers have reported that their funds going missing. They don't know how to use the wallet. The government's not really clear on it. And they've also seen the prices of the market, the international market just dive. So they don't have faith in it. It's the sentiment around South America in general is right now, accumulate as many US dollars as you possibly can. I know someone in Peru and other countries that do currency exchanges. So they're the type of people over there. The government is regulates these type of people, but what you do, they work for the government. But what you do is you'll have like stacks of money, and then like tourists will go up to you and exchange money. The bills, and a lot of those people they're very successful because they make a good amount and good returns. But the sentiment over there with all of these people is just accumulate U.S. dollars right now in the meantime because everything's heading down. And definitely, Bitcoin is like at the bottom of the list for all of these people.
And he gives like every citizen like I think $25 of Bitcoin, and people they cashed it out to dollars. You know, most of the people cashed it out.
Yeah, most of them cashed it out.
Yeah,
That's what it's
but
one of the
Tony,
sentiments or one of the things is that how would you convince these people in these countries to
but Tony,
use something like that, you know? And you can't.
yeah, Tony, you know what? If he gives them XRP and they used it, they will find out how fast it is, and they will have used it. But you know,
But it's not even that. It's just the
It's just
lack of
that's
trust.
never going
It's
to happen.
it's the
They're going to
yeah.
use their bank, and their bank will use RippleNet slash
But it's
XRP Ledger slash Interledger Protocol or whatever.
but
And
karma. It's
and
not even just
is
that.
never going
It's
to know.
the karma. It's not even just that. Let's say they do. It's the overall sentiment, lack of trust that people have. Because when things get bad, it's special. I don't know how it is. I can't speak. You know, I don't have people in Europe or other countries, but in South Central America, the sentiment has always been accumulate U.S. dollars, and that's what's going on over there right now. And so far, it's been paying off because the U.S. dollar is stronger than all of these countries' currencies because all these countries are going bankrupt. Look at Argentina.
Well, what's funny here is there's some businesses that are starting to just not take cash. I'm not really sure how that's legal, but they'll just have little signs that just say, like, yeah, no cash. We're not just
Well, I
pay.
mean, yeah,
It's not
that's
legal,
why.
but you just accept it. What are you gonna do? Make a big deal about it?
Yeah, that's what is going on with a lot of these vendors in these South American countries. They're not accepting. I mean, in El Salvador, particularly speaking, they're not accepting it, even though it's legal tender and you're supposed to accept it. They're turning people down for that. So there's over the people. There are people that are making money off Bitcoin, but those are people that are trading it. But they're, I mean, for them, you know, they're trading like $20, $30 at a time. But no one's using that to buy. It's not a success. Long story short, it's not a success at all. It has a
Tony,
long
I
ways to
bet
go.
I bet you they will accept chicken tender instead of legal tender. But so even Bitcoin cannot compete with the chicken tender. That's really sad.
Here's the thing, right? In El Salvador, for example, right? The country needs electricity, needed running water, they needed running electricity throughout the country for infrastructure. The last thing they need to worry about is trying to feel some sort of payments and
Well,
infrastructure.
the sentiment is that Bukele has told his people that one of the ways they'll get all those things is through investment in Bitcoin. However, that doesn't hasn't turned out to be the case. But there's been videos that how he's bought quote unquote the dip. So he's bought Bitcoin at I believe like 60,000, 45,000, and it'll show videos of all these hospitals that are supposed to be government backed have just no electricity. There's leaks in the ceiling, you know, and there's just it's horrible.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Those things need to be fixed first.
And this goes, in my opinion, for all cryptocurrency, like even XRP. They shouldn't be, doing any of that stuff. It's they have just
Yeah,
other
exactly,
issues to fix first.
100%.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think it would be smart to make XRP like a
Yeah,
currency of XRP either. Like, I think that would be just stupid.
and it's one of his least biggest problems because there's also another problem that he has is the whole drug trafficking thing. So there was videos coming out that one of his people negotiated with drug traffickers. So that he has a mountain of problems right now, just getting worse and worse. And this Bitcoin thing is not helping. So now he's coming out and apologizing, but he's still saying that he has faith that it will rebound. So I believe it was last week that he purchased another, I think, couple million or few $1 million in Bitcoin.
He sought clout, and that's what it is. You know, he wanted to be popular, and so good for him.
Yeah, he wanted to be the next JFK, young,
Yeah, it's
popular president.
Elon Musk and Michael Saylor. Bitcoin is just the way to cloud. That's what it is. That's the only use of it. But it is what it is. It's okay.
Wolf, just go ahead.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me up. I was chiming in a bit late, so I haven't really heard what you guys was talking about before, but I have a little maybe off-topic question if anyone can answer it. But I saw yesterday that David Schwartz was, or 2 days ago maybe, David Schwartz was posting that if you have a address that you have, yeah, you know what I mean, deposited to, but never done a transaction, blah blah. It's quantum resistant. But is there anyone that can explain more in deep why it will be so?
I'm not sure I understood. What was it? What was he saying?
He was saying that if you have a XRP deposit to a XRP address and you have never done a transaction of it, it was quantum resistant.
Well, it was how you protect your address from quantum protection, from quantum computing, and it was just a couple different methods of how today the XRP ledger can be somewhat quantum proof today, and then in the future he was talking about there will also have to be different methods to make it so that when you're interacting with the ledger, you're still quantum proof. Your wallet is still quantum proof.
Yeah, exactly. Because I thought it was only Bitcoin and proof of work that was exposed with in the first place, but
no. So this is the same thing. Like XRP is in the same boat as Bitcoin, and what he mentioned for XRP goes for Bitcoin as well. If you had a brand new address in Bitcoin and you didn't send any transactions out of that address yet, then it's also technically quantum resistant. And the difference is, I guess, is with Bitcoin, you can have a new address for like each little bit of coins because it's a UTXO model. So you can kind of more reliably do the method he was talking about. With XRP, to create a new account every time is a lot because you need to have that new deposit amount that you have to keep in every account. And you can, I guess, delete accounts now, which is the nice thing. Before you couldn't even delete the account, so it'd be gone forever. But if you go through the steps, you could delete it and get it back minus transaction fees.
So it has nothing to do with computing power. I thought it was that if you had enough power to just mine all the bitcoins up at 2 seconds.
Different attack vectors, right? We're talking about on a wallet attack vector versus a network attack vector.
Yeah, so basically, Steph is right. Is what he's talking about is somebody being able to break the elliptical curve cryptography and back out from the public key to what the private key is. So right now it's a one-way function because modern computing power, there's no way to do that. So basically, if we did have theoretically a quantum computer with like extreme power, which we're very, 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 very far away from, and the right algorithms. People forget that quantum computing, like qubits are just the hardware side. You need the right algorithms and software for it to be running too, because it's a different type of code, right? We compile today into binary, but with a quantum computer, it's not going to work off of binary. It's not off or on. You also have the superposition as well, where it can be, both off and on at the same time. So it takes like a different code compilation, compiling to do it. And we don't have that software today either. But pretending that we did, and you had a computer that powerful, once a transaction is done, the public key gets exposed, which today is a safe thing. It's a fine thing because you can't back into the private key. But once you have that public key, you then just need to reverse the elliptic curve technology. The reason you can't do it if you haven't spent from the address before is because from the public key to make your account or your Bitcoin address, it still goes through SHA-256 hashing algorithm and then the RIPE-MD 160 hashing algorithm. So it would have to undo both of those hashing algorithms and then the public key as well. But once you spend, you don't need to do that. You know the public key associated with the account or the address. So you skip through hashing functions, essentially. But a quantum computer with Bitcoin couldn't mine all the Bitcoin. It would just, they would be the dominant player on the network. Bitcoin's still going to always distribute according to the supply schedule. You couldn't just like sap it all up, no matter how powerful of a computer you had. You'd just be the dominant player getting most of the rewards.
Okay, Scams,
Very
that was a great answer. Thanks so
Give you
much.
guys, we're gonna close the space up in 5 minutes. I have to head out. It's Thursday, so I have Flare community chat afterwards. But if anybody has any like last minute things or questions they'd like to come up and ask, please feel free to come up. Anything on the chat, or if you have something completely off topic, please go ahead.
Well, I think the quantum computer, the threat is to match the public-private key pair. I mean, you're not going to change the code of Bitcoin D or Ripple D or whatever. But if you break the code, I mean, if you get the freaking public-private key pair, you just stole someone's money, right?
Well, earlier this month, the NIST actually released a few. They selected 4 candidates for post-quantum cryptography to replace the current algorithms, and they're expected to solve this problem already. But everything that's been
Yeah, I don't
prior
see
to
it.
this is pretty fucked.
Like the last thing that Flare has released so far has been like a post quantum digital signature for EVM smart contracts to like keep EVM relevant while in a quantum age.
Was it crystals, the lithium?
Crystals, the lithium, yeah, yeah. So
That was one of them. We were just talking about this the other
Yeah,
day.
that's just signatures.
dilithium, I think it was.
Yeah, that's just for signatures. But yeah, they're likely crystal Kyber. They're likely to be the 2 most widely used replacements.
This is what Gene was talking about last night. So Steak,
I was trying to say is we were just talking about this, and he was trying to explain there's 4 different algorithms for the cryptography there.
Falcon and Sphinx Plus.
A company Nest that I've never heard of until last night.
Yeah, well, at Digibyte we got 5 different algorithms, and we're actually looking into changing one or maybe multiple to post-quantum. So this is a topic that we're covering, and also the math of it. But it's so far it's still a little bit over my head, if you excuse me. But I kind of want to understand what they're doing as well. But the research that has been used is from 2017. So it kind of bothers me because the algorithms are already 5 years old. But that's another topic.
Well, it's like this, and this is where like I think that even Bitcoin, right, or the XRP ledger, right, the test of time truly makes a huge difference in being able to trust the protocol that it's going to work correctly. And so we're always going to be a laggard in that sense of like using something that's a little bit older just because we could have that test of time.
Yeah, but Death, I I read a philosophy book when I was young. About the only thing I remember from it is it was talking, one of the chapters or something was about the logical fallacy of the test of time, right? Because think of the guys, I've told this story in here before. Like the Wright brothers that invented airplanes and like human flight and all this stuff. You know, there's a story where an older man told them like, hey guys, you're really wasting your time screwing around with all these gears and bicycle type stuff. You should just learn how to shoe horses. I mean, people have been shoeing horses forever, and you'll have a nice steady life. Well, you know what? Then things change, right? They invented flight. Like, they made a mark on the world, or a dent in the universe, if you will. But like, things change. I just, it's, to like people were saying it was silly back in the 90s for you to be screwing around with these this internet stuff. I mean, this was just a stupid waste of your time, right? And then look at what the internet is now. I mean, it's indispensable. It's infrastructure. Same thing's going to happen here with blockchain. I can't tell you how many years people have told me I'm wasting my time paying attention to this stuff. Just, I don't, countless. And still, they're going to end up using this crypto in one form or another, and using these technologies, and they're probably not even going to know it. You know, like my uncle said he wanted to keep his landline, so if there was a hurricane, he could make a call. And I was like, you do realize that first off, that landline's going over VoIP. So it's not a landline like you think. It's a voice over IP. And second, the first thing they're going to get up and running is the towers, the cell towers. They're and he thinks the idea of having the wire plugged in makes, and I'm just like, dude, no.
The same thing. Use a lot of even electrical stuff sometimes in the house. Even if it's wired together, there's still a microchip board in the back that's releasing a signal.
I think what they were talking about though is the Lindy effect, LINDY, which talks about really more something becoming battle hardened. Not that newer technologies won't replace something, but the longer a technology is used, that there's not going to be some huge flaw or vulnerability in it. I mean, use the internet TCP as an example. Like, what are the odds at this point? After 2.5, 3 decades of using it, we find some like huge vulnerability or flaw in it that wasn't there before. Now, could it be replaced one day? Sure, maybe better things come along. That's actually a really hard one to replace as an example, since it's an open
No,
standard.
not really actually. There are some projects that are working on combining TCP/IP with blockchain.
Oh,
And
it's not to say
I
people
would,
aren't working on it. It's hard to replace because the network effects, because the whole world is on it today. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you have consortiums that make the decisions of the protocols that run. But I got to close up the space, though, guys. Great space today. I'll be on a little bit later. I don't know if you will be for Karma, but I like to thank everybody for coming today. Love you guys. If you could retweet these spaces so that hopefully, if not only you and your friends, but hopefully people in the future find these valuable. And I love you guys. I thank you guys all for coming.
Thanks, this.
Also, Tony, by the way, posted something up at the top, guys. Unfortunately, to make little matters worse for Celsius, it seems like they had a insider data breach. So if you had any sort of emails and passwords that you use on multiple accounts with them, go ahead and go change that information. But love you guys. See you guys later.
Thanks, this. Bye, scams. Bye.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Thanks so much.